Well, hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Combat Catch-Ups. I have some fantastic stuff to discuss with you today, so let's get right to it. Well, this past weekend, the two heavyweight giants, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, collided against each other in a boxing match for the ages. If you are not privy to the first two fights that these two gentlemen had, go out there and watch them. Now, to give you a little bit of history, the second fight, Deontay was knocked out. His first ever loss in his career, and he made some pretty bad excuses. Excuses like blaming Tyson for loading his gloves, blaming his trainers for throwing in the towel, the kind of water they made him drink, and all sorts of stuff that didn't really sit well with the world of boxing or the fans. This time around, however, Deontay made a fantastic attempt at avenging the only loss in his career. Unfortunately though, Tyson Fury, as predicted, came out on top, but the match was not without its fair share of drama. The pair traded 2 knockdowns apiece at various stages in the fight before Tyson finally ended it late in the 11th round to stay undefeated and to stay the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. If you haven't seen this match yet, I highly recommend you go check it out. This one's going down in the history books as a modern classic. Now we have some not so good news as well. The BKFC Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships had a bout sometime in August featuring an ex-MMA fighter by the name of Justin Thornton. Now Justin took a knockout loss and ended up in the hospital because of his injuries due to the fight. Unfortunately, I have to inform you that Justin has succumbed to his injuries and is no longer with us. Well, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and this does remind us just how dangerous any form of combat can be. Now let's get back to the world of MMA and talk about what's exciting in the UFC. We've had a host of matchups and a host of developments. Let's get right to it. First up, UFC 269. The pay-per-view scheduled for December the 11th, the last big fight card of the year, has lost one of its fights. Luke Rockhold, who was to take on Sean Strickland in a comeback, is now out of the fight. He has pulled out, citing a injury to his spine. Well, Luke, we hope you get better soon, and we hope to see you in action in another fight sometime in the near future. Speaking of UFC 269, we've had another exciting fight added to the card. Jorge Masvidal has signed the contract to fight against Rocky Leon Edwards. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the history that these gentlemen share, just Google 3-piece in a soda and you'll know what I'm talking about. Well, Masvidal was in England back in the day when he fought Darren Till, and Leon Edwards and him ran into each other during some press events and they ended up exchanging fisticuffs. It didn't go down so well, but that story has now come full circle and Leon will get an opportunity to finally answer Masvidal in the octagon. We'll see how that goes down. Now, there's been an announcement about UFC 270. Coming up in January, the fight card has another title bout added to the event. We will be contesting for the title of the baddest man on the planet when the interim champion Cyril Gane takes on the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the Predator Francis Ngannou. So we finally have this clash to look forward to. It's going to come up early next year. And I can't wait to see what goes down when the two former teammates and massive giants square off in the octagon. Speaking of early next year, another exciting title matchup has been announced. Israel Adesanya will be taking on Robert Whittaker for the second time. Now, the first time around that was a mega event that happened in Australia. And while we may have to wait till early next year, the event is right around the corner. Now, the UFC 269 event that was to feature Brandon Moreno, who will take on Divison Figueiredo for the third time, has been moved to UFC 270. That's another fight that I'm looking forward to. It is for the title of the featherweight champion in the UFC and promises to be just as exciting as the first two outings these two gentlemen had. What else do we have announced in terms of fights coming up? Derek Lewis will be taking on Chris Daukaus in a fight night card, which will be the final event on the UFC roster for this year. So look out for the end of 2020. We have 2 blockbuster PPVs followed by a fight night event that features 2 heavy hitters in Chris Daukaus and Derek Lewis. And we also have UFC 269, which is shaping up to be a pretty fantastic card in itself. There's tons of new stuff coming up. Watch out for the new videos. Oh, wait, hold on. I can't believe I forgot about this. I forgot to mention, the Blessed Express is back, baby. Max Holloway has just announced his next fight and he will be taking on Yair Rodriguez for a very, very high stakes matchup in the featherweight division. In my opinion, Max is still the uncrowned champion. He won that fight against Alexander Volkanovski the last time around, and Yair being a very highly ranked contender and a potential next boost for a title shot. This one is going to be a very exciting matchup. Both very flashy fighters, huge action to be expected. Another fight, this year is shaping up to be something else. We barely have 3 months to go, and I can't believe the amount of talent that's coming out of the UFC and the number of fights that I have to look forward to. Usually when you get through a Conor McGregor fight in the year, you think it's going to be downhill from there. Well, guess what? The UFC is proving that their talent pool is deep, very deep indeed. I can't wait to get to it. Thank you so much for listening to us today. I will see you in the next video.